Are you remembering to recut your stems when you put your flowers into your vase? Are you remembering to change your water every couple of days? And are you remembering, just for your personal enjoyment, to change up your vases every few days as well? I'm Julie from Julie Davis Flower Workshop and Flower Start, the online flower arranging classes. I've got quite a lot of flowers at home at the moment and I've been zhuzhing them up and swapping the vases around. So come and watch and see what I do. I'd love to know what flowers you're enjoying at home at the moment. Leave me a comment and let's compare notes. Rather bizarrely, I've had a bunch of daffodils hanging on my front door. I just love these tulips. Look how straight they are. I've also got lots of potted spring bulbs around the house. And these chrysanthemums must be about 3 weeks old. I like collecting all my flowers together to see what I've got. As you can see, quite a collection at the moment. And there's still more to come. Oops, I'm talking to myself. My microphone wasn't plugged in. What I'm telling you here is that I bleach out my vases every time I refresh my flowers. And I use a toilet brush to do this, not one for my toilet, a brush that's dedicated to my flowers. What I do is fill my vase with water, put a squirt of the bleach in, swish it round and let it settle. As well as cut flowers in the house, I've also had spring flowering bulbs. These need deadheading every now and again and topping up with water because they do dry out really fast. These great hyacinths have gone over, but I reckon if I chop them off, I can enjoy them in a jam jar just for a couple more days. I always keep spare jam jars on my windowsills for occasions like this. I'm also making a point of saving the bulbs I've had flowering indoors. So I've got a piece of newspaper here to collect all the dirt and I'm going to replant those out in my garden so that they'll flower next year. And I've got daffodils outside and hyacinths as well, which are waiting to be planted on for next time. Just look at that amazing root growth. And there's my bundle of bulbs ready to plant out in the garden for flowering next spring. Every so often I treat myself to a delivery of Freddie's flowers. So this is the bunch that came about 10 days ago. The lilies have opened up, but everything does need a bit of a spruce up. I am tipping away the water that was in the vase and then pouring in the bleachy water from my first jug so I can use that bleach to clean out my vase, and then I'll fill up my jug that's now really clean with fresh water so I can put my flowers back into the other jug, and I'll leave that other grey vase soaking and then I'll reuse that for the next lot of flowers. And what I'm doing here is taking off any dying greenery and leaves that are changing colour, recutting the stems and putting everything back in the vase, and hopefully that'll last another 2 or 3 days. I think probably these lilies are on their last legs, but at the moment I just can't bear to get rid of them. And then on to my balloon chrysanthemums. These were also from Freddie's Flowers, but these must be 5 weeks old by now. And they're just going to go straight into the compost heap. You can see how bedraggled they're looking. So I'm tipping my water away, and then I will add the bleachy water from my other jug into this one and then keep the cycle going of making sure every vase I use is clean. I'm not going to use this flowers for mum vase, but at least it will be really clean, ready for next time. At this point I was a bit nervous about zhuzhing up my tulips because they're a really delicate flower, and can you see how they've managed to stay so straight? Normally they grow and bend towards the light, but I've decided that they do need refreshing, and I'm going to put them together in one big bunch into the grey vase. So I'm recutting the stems as before and plonking them in because really tulips arrange themselves. And then I do exactly the same thing with my other bunch of tulips, which have opened up quite a lot, and don't they look fantastic? So recut the stems. I'm doing it all in one go here without putting the flower heads down because I don't want to break them. This grey vase has got a slightly wider mouth than the mason jars I had my tulips in before, so hopefully they're going to relax and open out a little bit. I've got a decision to make about my daffodils which have been hanging on my front door, and they must have been there, well, I'm guessing 10 days. And it's quite a long time for daffodils to last, but the beauty of this was that my front door is north facing, so they were out in the cold. Whereas if you've got daffodils in your living room with the warmth of your living room, they're probably going to only last 3 or 4 days. So I could go through and pick out the ones that are decidedly dead, then keep the other daffodils going. And I'm just enjoying those as a burst of colour as I walk towards my front door. I'm not going to top the water up. I've got half a jam jar left of each. I think by the time I've gone in and taken the flowers out, I risk damaging them. So I'm just going to go through and pick out any of the ones that obviously look like they've gone over. There's one right down there. I think it's going to just needs a bit of a zhuzh, and hopefully that'll look good for another 3 or 4 days. Then onto my roses. I bought these roses because I'm teaching a DIY wedding flowers course at the moment, and we were doing rose buttonholes, so these are the leftovers really on my windowsill, which I've covered with a piece of bark. So if I fill that with water, cut my roses really short, I'll get maximum value out of them. And the shorter your flowers are, the longer they'll last, because the water doesn't have so far to travel. So I can be really daring here and cut these stems really short. Nice little jam jar flowers to put on my windowsill. 3 more left. So I've got another jar here. I do like having jam jars on the windowsill. Just a really great place for all your little bits of odds and ends and any stems that break. And you can enjoy them for a bit longer. Measure up against the vase to see how long to cut them or how short to cut them. I'm going to put my dead flowers over in the compost heap, and then I will place my new vases of flowers in slightly different places just to change things up a bit.